Hail Internet, I am Lord VikingBeard. Welcome to Anodyne, an old-school Zelda-inspired action RPG with a unique and quirky sense of humour and an abstract style. Developed by Sean Hogan and Jonathan Kitaka and published by Analgesic Productions on February 4th, 2013. You play Young, a boy who appears to be trapped in some sort of dreamscape/limbo. The only real objective given is to reach the Briar, a mysterious realm that is barricaded behind a locked gate. This task is achieved by collecting at least 36 of the 48 cards scattered throughout the game's 20 or so distinct zones. The cards are acquired through exploration, combat, and solving a multitude of puzzles. Unlike the game series from which it takes its cues, there is very little in terms of equipment or abilities. Our hero only gains access to a modest set of modifications to his main weapon, the brush, and yes, he uses a brush for combat and puzzle solving. Being able to move piles of dust to be used as anything from a shield against attacks to a flotation device for traversing waterways. The only other skill gained early on is from a set of jump boots that allow Young to, you guessed it, jump. Despite this perceived lack of tools, the puzzle variety is great, and I never felt like I was simply solving more and more convoluted versions of the same thing, as so often happens with many titles that rely so heavily on brain teasers. This was great, as I never became exhausted with doing the same thing over and over. This is in stark contrast to the combat, that while never boring and has a fair set of alternative enemies, it is not particularly challenging, and apart from a few of the bosses, never really elevates much above hit thing with brush till thing gone. But while it is obvious that fighting was never the focus of the game, an extra move or two would have really helped to move it from functional to fun. The art style is probably one of the biggest factors in Anodyne remaining consistently engaging. While it is a fairly short game by RPG standards, there is a wide assortment of styles in the main play zones that has you going from cityscape to a forest and even a cyberspace style areas with themed enemies and some with gameplay unique to that zone. While these spaces don't always transition seamlessly into one another, the dreamlike nature of the plot gives context to these jarring changes. Before I finish, I wanted to point out a couple of flaws, and without wishing to spoil anything, while the game is paced very well, and at no point did I feel unfairly challenged by an obtuse mystery or an overpowered baddie, the final section of the game has a puzzle that is difficult to solve simply due to the slightly muddy nature of the textures, as it involves discerning what a group of symbols stand for. It was honestly difficult to tell, and I ended up simply trying random solutions till one worked. My other gripe is the last boss fight in the game, introducing never before seen mechanics. Both these occasions led to pretty frustrating trial and error in an otherwise calmly paced game. Until that point had me in an enjoyable explore, kill, soul cycle that, while on occasion I would die, the extremely forgiving mechanic of sending you back to a checkpoint but keeping all of your progress so far seemed completely at odds with these final moments. However, these minor issues didn't tarnish my experience but actually highlighted to show how good the rest of the experience actually is. Anodyne is available on Steam, Desura and mobile devices for $6.99 and £3 respectively. Despite the less than perfect final moments, Anodyne gets an Odin approved, and is certainly worth your time and money. Farewell, and thank you for watching.